Alright, so before we even start this video, just know that I've filmed it a few times. Every single time I film this video, it just ends up me gushing over this book and talking about it and talking about it. I can't stop talking about this book. And so just know that I love it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I give it a 10 out of 10. And if you would like to pick one up for yourself, links will be in the description box down below. But I just wanted to start this video with a warning because you're about to see me gush over how much I love this book and everything that it does for me. And so you've been warned. I'm going to go on and on and on about it, I know, but I'm very excited about this book. And so hopefully you stick around and watch all the information that I share about it, and hopefully you pick one up because this is a great book. So let's get into the video, and you can see exactly how much I truly love this book. Hey, this is Corey from Wolfpack Woodcraft, and this week's book is The Ultimate Prepper Survival Guide. Now, this is a newer book. It came out, I believe, around March 2020, maybe a little after that. There's actually facts in here from 2020, so I was lucky. Right here, the world's population in 2020 is 7.8 billion people. And so the thing I like about this book is when you have prepper style books. Okay, when I got this, I couldn't put it down. And the reason for that is when you have prepper style books, usually they are talking about hypothetical situations and how you can prepare for said hypothetical situation. This book is different because it uses real situations, and it uses the author here, James Wesley Rawles. He has a large fan base, and because of that he has people writing him and sending him letters and communicating with him. And so there's so a lot of prepper books are, if there was a hurricane, this is how you can prepare for a hurricane. Okay, in this book he talks about Hurricane Katrina and what they did that worked, what they did that didn't work, what they wish they had, what they wish they knew. You know what I mean? It's a real situation and how they dealt with it and how you can prepare to either deal with it the same way, or you can learn from their mistakes, learn from what didn't work and avoid those things, learn from what did work and focus on those things. And everything in here is based on real events. And so the events are different things that happen across the world, right? They're not just US focused, it's the entire world. And so they'll talk about things like Nazi Germany, right, and the concentration camps, and they'll use the knowledge from that to educate on prepping and being prepared and understanding what they had to go through and how the people that survived, what they had to do to survive, and the people that got executed right away, what happened to them. It talks about Hurricane Katrina, like I said, and the warning signs and all the things that people thought didn't matter that actually mattered a lot. They talk about a lot of different real world situations. Great flood. In here I think there's a letter from one of his fans wrote him a letter, and the actual letter itself is in here, and they went through a flood, a major flood, and they talk about the mental mindset that they were in and how they felt like they were never going to get out of it, and how there was water everywhere but there was nothing to drink, and the mindset and the panic and all those things that the person actually felt dealing with that situation, and the prepared mind that they had to have, and the prepared equipment and things, and the things that they didn't even realize. Like, if there's a flood, right, there's water everywhere, but it's contaminated. And it's not just contaminated, it's not like being in the ocean where it's salt water. It's contaminated with bleach, chlorine, Drano, oil, antifreeze, gasoline, diesel, propane, you know what I mean? Paint, anything that's inside your home is contaminating the water that's in that flood. If your home floods, every single thing in here is contaminating that water, all those chemicals, all that debris, all that everything. You really can't drink it. Boiling water doesn't get rid of chemicals or heavy metals or anything like that. and so you can't boil it, you can't, a Sawyer filter won't work, a life straw won't work, and so what do? You know what I mean? And they talk about that in this book, and I really like it a lot. I couldn't put it down. I read right through it. Some of the last chapters are checklists, and so the checklists are barter and charity items, things to have for barter and charity, books, bug out bag, vehicle bug out bag, food and water, financial preparation, gardening and outdoors, house and home, hygiene and sanitation, personal preparation and security. It's just checklists of things that you're going to need, things you're going to want to have, things that you might not need but are good to consider. There's just so much information in this book, and it's spiral bound, and so it sits down flat, and so it's easy to read, it's easy to set down and get back into because the page you're on is right here. I really like this book. I was reading another one of James Rawles' books, and I put that one on the back burner, and I read this one straight through. It does have a section on the back cover with your checklist. It's a little folder for you to put notes and stuff into. And the real life examples and the real life experiment and their experiences of this book really made it something that this is my favorite book. I'm even going to convince Caroline to read it. Caroline's not into reading these kind of books. She likes more of like a fantasy story books, where I like more of the factual books. I'm going to get her to read this as well. And because while I was reading it, I thought that she wouldn't read it, right? It's not her type of book. And I'd be telling her facts, and I'd be telling her all these things that happened in history and how they're kind of repeating themselves, or things that happened in history. And I was like, I had no idea that happened, you know, and she was fascinated by all the things I was telling her. Now she's interested in reading it and learning all the things that I didn't tell her. And so this is getting a 10 out of 10. I love it. You know I love it. I could go on and on and on about it. The back says, would you survive the end of the world as we know it? This may well be the most important survival book you will ever read. I love it. It's the fact that it has all the examples. It has all the personal experience. Like I said, James Rawles, he lives in a homestead. He calls it the Rawles Ranch. And so he lives out off grid. You know, he lives that lifestyle. So he has personal experience in a lot of things. And the things that he doesn't have personal experience, he looks towards history to find examples and find information. And so I really like this book. It talks about storage. And so a lot of people, they talk about storing a bunch of food and water and having it on hand. And right here, only when you visualize how much water you will need for 1 year can you appreciate how important it is to have a water filter available so that you can treat water from open sources. And so there's a picture here of a dude standing next to 1 year's worth of water that one person would need. And so that is a ton of water. Okay, you don't have that amount of room inside your home or your garage or your shop, and the weight of that water is not, you're going to need some kind of huge structure, right? You're going to need to buy a pool and keep that pool water drinkable indefinitely, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. And so it brings all these things, it brings it to your attention, but it brings it to reality, right? Having a year's worth of water, that's something that I would have liked to accomplish. That's something that I would like to strive towards. But after reading this, it's not possible, right? You think about it, but you can't comprehend it until you see it in a picture like this, or you read exactly what that is. You know what I mean? And once it becomes a reality, I can now shift my focus. I don't need a year's worth of water. I need a year's worth of water filters that I can use to filter rainwater, filter lakes, rivers, stream water, whatever water source I have available to me. I need to figure out how to filter that. And so instead of stockpiling on water, I'm now thinking about buying those stainless steel Berkey water filters. I can filter out almost anything. That way I can filter a year's worth of water instead of having to store a year's worth of water. And so it's all these little things that I never thought of, and I think most people don't think of, they don't realize. And then once this book shows you real life examples, real life things that have happened, real life, you know what I mean? 70 million have fallen to famine in the previous century. 70 million people have fallen to famine, right? Starving to death, not having food, right? Once you get that visualization, once you get that stat and those facts, and this thing is full of stats and facts, it really opens your eyes and it really helps you cipher what is important, what isn't important. I could go on and on and on and on and on with this book. I really could. Now it's labeled, it's into sections. So you have dangers, mentality, essentials, protection, community, and then a checklist like I was talking about before. And the checklist, food and water list, everything, food preparation list, food storage list, water list, financial preparation list, stocks, precious metals, base metals, bank deposits, cash currency, cryptocurrencies. It has all these different things that it just lays it out in a way that's comprehensible. It lays it out in a way that makes it tangible, right? You can understand, you know, you can see, you can almost touch and feel it. Like you can imagine exactly what that is. And it just, oh, I love this book. I don't understand how to, I understand that you guys know that I love this book, but it's just, even when it talks about firearms, the rim fire handguns, center fire handguns, rifles, combustion guns, long range rifles, or combination guns, shotguns, retreat, defense, everything is in this book. This is another one. This is a ambush. The people were attacking the farmers. I can't pronounce it. I've only read it. I've never heard it. So Rhodesian Bush War Statistics. Rhodesian. I don't know how to pronounce it. But just reading about that alone, reading the statistics and how they've defended themselves. There were people attacking them, trying to steal their farms, trying to steal their equipment, trying to steal their crop, trying to take their lives and steal their whole farm, right? How they protected themselves, how they used razor wire, and how they made systems, and they had watches, and they had a night shift and a day shift, and the way that these farmers protected their land, right? Because when you have acres and acres of farmland, you can't patrol it and keep everybody out. You have to be able to figure out a way to keep them out even when you're not standing there. And it's just, the information, there's just so much in this book. Once I started reading it, I couldn't stop reading it. I couldn't put it down. That's why even though it's the newest book, even though I just bought it not that long ago, I've already gone through it. I appreciate it so much. I'll go on and on and on if you let me. But I'm going to end the video right here. Even communications, the different radios, having the different hardwire radios, wireless radios. More than 3 million estimated number of ham radio operators worldwide. There are more than 3 million ham radio operators. So that's 3 million people out of the 7.8 billion that are going to have communications if the cell towers fail. If everybody's cell phone died, only 3 million people would have access to communication. That is crazy, right? That is crazy to me. 31% of all transactions in the U.S. as of August 2018 were in cash. And so one of the things is you pay for things in cash, that way it can't be traced to you. Only 31%. And that number is decreasing, meaning the government and all these people that have access to your bank account know exactly what you're spending, how you're spending. They can see your patterns. They can see everything. They can literally know everything there is to know about you by your bank account. And it's not very many people that are paying with cash, right? And so I don't think that way, right? I don't think any of us really think that way. But when you see the numbers and you see the statistics and you see the real world examples, it just really it enlightened me in so many ways. So the video's ending. It's ending right now. I love this book. I'm keeping it forever. Highly, highly recommend it. If you are a prepper, if you enjoy thinking outside of the box, this is the book for you. This is not your traditional prepper book where it's going to give you the same information that everybody else is giving you. This is going to give you real world examples, what worked in the people's opinion, what didn't work in their opinion. It's a lot of opinions, but it's based on real events, not just hypothetical situations. So thank you so much for watching. Leave any knowledge or questions in that comment section, and I cannot wait to see you on my next video.